So I've had three injuries. Uh, in '96, that's when I was an atheist at Ticketmaster, kind of working, maybe the job was unraveling, but I kind of went crazy because the radio started talking to me like Truman Show or some shit. And anyway, oh, by the way, Diana, like if we're poor, then we're like the radio gets to talk to us like everywhere we go. Hey, the radio's playing our song. Anyway, so like the king, you know. Anyway, I assume it's if we're poor or some shit. Maybe it's just if we're king, because the radio always talks to me. So like that's one of the. You turn on the radio. Hey, they're talking to us. How about that? Anyway, so the radio is talking to me, and so like that's when I did my Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Ran off out of town, and I ended up in I was in Phoenix. Started in Phoenix, ended up in Marfa, Texas, and that's where the Marfa lights are. I was distressed to learn afterward. Anyway, it was like that figures. But anyway, Marfa lights are like some UFO thing. Anyway, it's kind of funny. Anyway, so so like I'm like totally tripping out on this, thinking it's like the end of the world and like out of the Bible or something, or who knows what, you know, Revelation or something. And so one of my I'm like trying to repent and like you know, I'd been an atheist, and this is like the wrath of God or discovering God, so it's pretty traumatic coming from a Catholic background. The guilt of atheism really terrified me, and a fear of hell and shit like that, I guess. And anyway, so I one of the topics was for some reason I don't know how to explain this, but well, Catholics have guilt complexes, right? And I had always been a kind of a naughty, let's say Reagan capitalist, and so like one of the things was oil, right? There had been the Iraq War I, and I had I didn't really have any feelings about it, but the liberals were talking about oil being bad and stuff like that, and so one of my guilt complexes was, oh no, oil. And so like I abandoned my car in the middle of a road, it was like a 2-lane highway, and I abandoned my car like with the doors open, like blocking the, well, it was like basically blocking the road. It wasn't like a super high volume traffic, but it was a main highway or something. And so and then I started like walking away from it, like no, I gotta abandon that. I don't know. It made sense to me, right? So I'm maybe about a half a mile down the road. This cop comes comes around, picks me up. I get in the passenger seat, and he's probably angry as fuck because I just put my car right in the middle of the road. I think I chucked my keys too. Anyway, so like I did, as a matter of fact. So like so this cop is angry as fuck. She flips a bitch, U-turn, and about this point I'm going, no, I can't go back to my car. So I bail out the he's like accelerating the other direction, and like a cop car accelerating, you know. And so I bail out, and I hit the gravel and roll, and I break my collarbone, and I think I passed out. I'm not quite sure, but I sort of remember going into the ambulance, and so they put me in a jail, and you know, this is where you know, I don't have combat experience, but I've experienced combat. So like I'm in this jail, I'm like fuck. I'm thinking UFOs, crazy shit, right? So I'm like I took it like you know, you can kind of screw around like you're in a deadly peril, or you can take it seriously. So like well, one of the things, well, also logos or something, for some reason were tripping me out. So I was like, no, I can't have any logos on my clothes. So I was like naked. I'm like in the holding cell, and like then I was like, no, I gotta bust out of here. Now, I'd been an engineer. This is kind of a, what do you call it? This is a betrayal of engineering ethics or something. But I was like, hey, you know what? It's got a little electric outlet. The circuit breakers are probably fail-safe. I'll probably unlock the door, right? So, I shoved my, I had glasses on, I took them off, shoved them in the, I broke my glasses, shoved them in the electrical outlet, tried to make a T, anyway, I was being a kind of a pussy. I was like standing on my mattress, but anyway, they were plastic, the glasses were plastic, but right about the time I was doing it, they busted in the door, right? And well, anyway, so I've been to jail many times. Been to jail, but anyway, they sent me to the hospital because I had a broken collarbone, right? And I was like, they're doing an X-ray. There's a couple of weird little, when you do an X-ray, maybe they got the equipment around your head or something, right? So you ever, there's a couple little shiny spots, like I don't know what it was, but anyway, I'm tripping out because it almost looks like I got something in my head, right? And as a matter of fact, I did have a little abrasion on the top of my head, just to extra trip out. That's like a classic God. Anyway, it's like I'm in the hospital, right? And I decide, man, I have to get out of here. So I haul ass out an open door, and I'm running across the field. I got a broken collarbone, and like there's a truck, and there's like some country boys or something in the front lawn, and they got a truck with the engine running. I was like, shit, yeah. So I like truck into the truck, hop into the seat, got a broken collarbone. About this time is kind of like a futile effort, but like the country boys had little problem stopping me, and about this time a couple cop cars roll up. So like this is pretty much combat, which is like you're taking it pretty seriously. There was a little notch down from 100% serious, but like deadly peril. But so like that's 1996. Broke this collarbone, and I learned that when they break a collarbone, all they can do is it heals on its own. You put it in a brace. It's kind of anyway. So then 1999 happens. There's my car episode where I was kind of suicidal, homicidal after Christy, this cold woman, kind of dumps me or something. Or we went on a date and with Brenda, and I was like, oh my God, man, this is the bottom of the barrel, and she dumps me and shit. And anyway, so like she's cold, really cold, like really. But anyway, so like I'm like so like the next day or something, I'm like running through red lights and shit. That's kind of interesting, like whizzing through a red. You ever seen a figure eight race? Sometimes they do races on a figure eight. That shit is weird. So I'm going through red lights with cars and shit, and then eventually I come to an intersection, and it's kind of like suicidal, kind of. But anyway, then I get to this intersection, and right there's like a guy crossing, and some homicidal instinct gets me, and I right when the song on the radio, "Welcome to the Fold," it says, "I think you're shit." So I don't think it was a homeless guy. It might have been a homeless guy, but anyway, he was like in the crosswalk, and I gunned it, nailed him. I remember destroying his knee, and like his shoulder and head hit my windshield. Basically it was pretty gory, or not gory, but no blood. It's gory but no blood, like when a knee snaps or something. Ooh. Anyway, so there's that. They put me in the mental hospital for a day. That tripped me. I was like, why did it? there's a certain question as to if they knew everything, because I left the scene and like I told my mom, hey, I have to go back. I went back home. It's like, hey mom, I have to go back. They go, no, stay here. The cops come and haul me off and stuff. But I was like, and anyway, so that was pretty freaky. I was like, anyway, like a couple years later, I'm like, hey, you know what? My mom's like telling me, oh, that was a dream. It's like a couple years later, I go to the cops. And I'm like, hey, you know, I hit somebody a couple years ago, and they're like, oh, okay, they're the real casual, and they send me off, and they're like, they say, call the detective or something. So I call the detective, and like, they're like, it's like no answer and shit, and okay. Anyway, so well, anyway, so then 1993 or thereabouts, I'm in my apartment kind of all alone, like in Phoenix after the Ticketmaster job that I kind of quit after a couple weeks. That was a nice, well, it's like they hired me again, Ticketmaster did. I was making like 72,000 and like, but I quit like after like 3 weeks or something. But anyway, and then I'm like stuck in my apartment on a lease, and it's kind of really poor, and so like I'm in my apartment all alone. It was a pretty lonely period, and like well, one of the crazy things I did is there's like a yeah, you know how a closet's got like things on the side or something. There's like a I ran up and I kicked both legs up in the air and nailed I guess it was this way, up in the air. I kicked both legs up in the air and side kicked a wall, and then I landed and I just had forward momentum, and I landed and I had forward momentum. I like side kicked the wall, and then I landed and my knee did a bad thing, and so I didn't go to the hospital for that. I just let it heal. It was pretty precarious. So like from then on, I've always had to be real careful with my knee. But it's gotten progressively better. It's still not. I mean, I could if I did anything athletic, it would be dangerous. But anyway, and then finally in I guess it was 2017. I'm being like a Templar or something, right? Templar in training. I have a van. I'm living in a van, and one of the things that one of my practices was, you know, I was living in the back and like reaching up for the hatchback to pull it down to shut it, to close it. And there's a handle, and I reached up and I missed it from the inside, and I fell forward out of the van. So I fell out of the van, and my shoulder hit a wall. I broke my collarbone, and so I was like, oh no, I know what this is. I was like, oh, this is shock. I was like going into shock and stuff, and I was like, oh, I'm wounded and shit. You know, and when you get wounded, you kind of, there's another time I stood on a chair, just out of a jackass kind of, I did a handstand on my rolly chair in my room with hardwood floors, and then I landed on my ass. And then it hurt. I thought, I didn't know, that was really dangerous. And I was like, oh, what if it's like battle and I have to get up? So like I didn't know if my back was broke or what, but I got up and shit. And so like, so I broke this collarbone, and I'm like a couple days later, God tells me to go skinny dipping. It's like, what if I drown? But like I did that because I'm like in this. I was in Beatty, Nevada. There's a little tiny town. I'm living in the van, and like so like I've had experience with broken bones, like tying your shoe with a broken collarbone and shit. And anyway, so that's my combat experience. But the thing is, there's perfect justice. So you notice I broke both bones in my knee. And I know that I nailed that guy's knee and his shoulder. So there's perfect justice. Fuck it. So